week's episode of One Piece, the fecal matter officially hits the fan as Luffy goes into battle against the Gravity Master, Fujitora. Oh my friends, this is an episode that I have been waiting for. One of the greatest twists of the end of the Dressrosa arc is that it ends with a big massive battle between Luffy and Fujitora, and they bring a lot of their best abilities to the battle, although it's very obvious after watching this episode that Luffy is definitely holding back for a number of reasons. One, he just feels weird about fighting a blind guy. He thinks that's wrong. He has to sort of telegraph every single time he's going to attack him. When he says he's gonna punch, he's gonna punch. When he says he's gonna kick, he's gonna kick. And even when he messes up saying he's gonna kick and he punches instead, Fujitora still manages to block all of his attacks, which again is an extreme testament to his power. Not to mention that epic scene where he starts to pick up all of the rubble around Dressrosa, transforming it into a giant planetary garbage ball of death. Think of it as like the Shinra Tensei technique that you saw from Naruto Shippuden, which was used by Pain. However, this doesn't even look like it has any sort of strain on Fujitora whatsoever. He even unleashes this one attack in this episode, which is known as the Raging Tiger, which is this big sword slash which takes out a huge chunk of the walls of Dressrosa, destroying everything in front of it. Now, this battle is interesting right here, because I do have a feeling that even though Luffy is holding back, I think Fujitora is holding back just a little bit too. There's this weird little bit of respect between the two characters. Hell, Luffy even admits in this episode that he kind of likes Fujitora, and it got me thinking, boy, wouldn't that be an amazing twist if they could actually convert one of the admirals to come over to their side and actually have them be a crew member? It's definitely not going to happen, especially with how amazingly dedicated Fujitora actually is to the Marines, but a man can dream, can he? I just think that would be really damn awesome, especially to have someone that freaking powerful on the team. And there's a lot of scenes in this battle that look really impressive. Luffy uses a lot of his tried and true techniques in here, you know, a lot of just like big punches, Gatling attacks, the elephant gun technique, but Fujitora is the one who really steals the show, especially the way he controls gravity, how he can just have like this large like circular gravity just sort of appear in front of him, crushing the ground where Luffy has to constantly run away from it. It's impactful, to say the least. And everyone around them can do nothing but shit their pants. I mean, would you really want to fight against Fujitora? He's one of the most powerful characters that we've seen from the entire series, and I have a feeling that he probably could have taken out Doflamingo by himself. Unfortunately, with the birdcage, that does sort of limit some of his gravity-like abilities. Still, I think he really wanted to leave that to Luffy in order to sort of prove a point to the government as well. You know, he definitely always has some sort of ulterior motive, and that's also what's interesting about this battle. It's not like your typical One Piece battle. I mean, Luffy is holding back a lot. He's not even using his Gear 4th abilities, despite the fact that he said he is going to be going all out against him. He's just basically going right to the Gear 2nd and using a lot of jet-styled attacks. But it is pretty exciting, and it features some pretty decent animation. So if anything, this is definitely one of the more exciting ways to end an arc, aside from just having another random party and watching characters run around for about 20 minutes. We got a lot of action for about 20 minutes, most of which was very uninterrupted, which is something that I really appreciate. Once Luffy and Fujitora finally started to fight, it just never stopped until the very end of the episode, and that's what made this week's episode of One Piece all the more satisfying. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of One Piece? Just a big fat, badass action scene between Luffy and Fujitora, and that's the real reason to check out this week's episode. Like I said, it is kind of lame that Luffy is holding back his attacks simply because he respects Fujitora, and of course because he is blind, he doesn't really want to hit him with any unfair attacks. Still, it's satisfying as all hell. I'd much rather see this than just a lot of nothing happening, or just more of the random citizens of Dressrosa, which I'm completely bored with at the moment, and I have a feeling a lot of the viewers of the series are too. So this was a really refreshing episode to get back to. We haven't had like a big battle like this since, of course, Luffy versus Doflamingo, and believe it or not, that was a while ago. We've had a lot of episodes to get through, so this was definitely something that I was looking forward to, and it's not even done yet. Like, the next episode, they're gonna go right back to Luffy versus Fujitora. There's gonna be a few other surprises, and it's amazing to think that the Dressrosa arc is not done, and even after this Luffy versus Fujitora battle, there are still going to be some shocking things in this arc that are going to pop up, as well well as the transitions to the next arc of the series, so that's definitely something to look forward to. On the technical side of things, this was an okay looking episode. There were definitely some action scenes between Luffy and Fujitora, which did look good, but they were certainly saving on some of the animation in this episode, and there wasn't as much speed and impact as I wanted there to be from Luffy, especially considering he was using Gear Second. Still, that is because he was holding back against Fujitora, and he has to use Gear Second to even stand something of a chance against this guy, because Fujitora is the frickin' shit. And so, this was a pretty good and exciting episode of One Piece, which was definitely a pleasant surprise. I know it's definitely going to be for those who only watch the anime version, and I envy your ability to not read the manga version. It's very difficult not to do so, but now that I review the manga version of One Piece, I do know everything that is going to happen, and that does take away from some of my excitement of seeing these random events happen. Still, it's exciting for just about every single fan of One Piece, so make sure to check out this week's episode. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. A high-quality, action-packed episode of One Piece that pulled no punches. Except if you're Luffy. So check it out, One Piece fans. You might see something about this episode that you really like. But if any of you did watch this week's episode, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. Did you like this week's episode? Did you not like this week's episode? Did you have a favorite scene from this one in the battle between Luffy and Fujitora? Aside from Luffy and Fujitora, were there any other elements of this episode that you liked? And what do you want to see in the rest of the One Piece anime series? Please tell me in the comment section below. You guys are so kick-ass. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to help support Super Kami Guru 9000, you can do that by simply watching our videos, commenting on them, sharing them with your friends, and of course, smacking that like button right down below. You guys should also check out all the cool links we have in the description box below, as well as our weekly podcast series, The Powerful Nerdcast. It's pretty freaking life-changing. Make sure to check that out. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby!